the participant in week 8, where we are going to discuss about the social action as very important auxiliary method of social work. So the content here in this whole unit we are going to discuss not only just unit 8 but unit 9 will also cover the social action aspect. So in this unit 8 we are going to discuss about its concept, its objectives, principle, strategies, process, models, social action is a method of social work, and social action and social reform, the difference between these two. So we all know that there are 6 methods of social work. 3 are considered to be the primary method, and 3 are considered to be the secondary method, also known as the auxiliary method. So these methods actually are intended to support these auxiliary method or secondary method are actually are intended to support the primary techniques. Here, as a social worker indirectly deals with the client's problem. So these are the social work research, social welfare administration, and social action. These 3 are the secondary method. As unlike other social work methods, social action also emphasizes essential long-term changes in establishment and established social institutions. The social action actually covered social, racial, social justice and all, and human rights and freedom and civil concern and civil liberty of the human being. So previously, actually, social action was considered as a tool of community organization, but still now it is has been considered a separate social work technique and as a such a fourth process of the community of the social work, that is as a secondary method. So few believe it is a part of the community organization, and few has taken it as altogether a separate method comes under the secondary method. So as it is auxiliary method, definitely it works very close with the community organization method. So what is social action? Social action has been a part of the process of development of human society. So what is social action? Social action has a part of has been a part of the process of development of human society. There are hardly been any time in social evolution when people have not organized or themselves actually enjoined to protest against any kind of injustice or to seek redressal of grievances or alteration on unjust social, economic and political structures. So actually it works with the unjust structural aspect. So social work education gave social action as an academic status by recognizing it as one of the important methods of social work, because we have already seen there are models in the community organization which actually talks about the social action aspect. So that's why it's in part of the community organization, as well as we can take a lot of the social action approaches as a separate mode to actually deliver the kind of the goals and objective which is so specifically designed for the social action, and many a time that is so much required by the community. So social action in social work has a professional method for changing or preventing any kind of the social system changes. So it also prevent any kind of the dysfunctional in the social system, as well as it's also work in the enhancement of the social system, right? It involves making people aware of their socio-political and economic realities that affect their lives. So many a time community are not aware about the many social realities or the realities around economic aspect and all and power structure. So it is meant to actually to realize the community members regarding all the such realities, and once they get realized, so then it's easy to mobilize them to organize for desired results. Social action is very powerful instrument in the hands of the people to secure social justice and then human rights. This is a way one can actually restore and actually advocate for the social justice and human rights in their life. So the foremost practitioners of social action in our country, like Mahatma Gandhi, considered as a social reformer, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and many actually put a lot of example in front of us that how this whole aspect of the social action brought changes into the society overall, even in the very difficult objective could be achieved through the mass mobilization, through mass awareness and mass mobilization. Now take some important definition of social action to understand it more accurately and more professionally. So very first time in the social work profession. The term social action has been used by Mary Richmond in the year 1922 when she called it as in the mass betterment through propaganda and social legislation. So if you look into the Mary Richmond's definition of social action, that emphasize the or using the word mass betterment through propaganda and social legislation. So this particular showing the focus on the collective welfare and then policy changes that could be advanced by shaping public opinion and law. Through public, in changing, bringing change into the public thought process, and then also through the policy, policy changes and policy enactment in a right manner. So her approach reflects the idea that social change could be achieved, by mobilizing the larger groups around common issues to push for legislative reforms, even if it required strategic persuasion or propaganda. So one can also go with that. So this captures on an early 20th century perspective where systematic change was largely believed to come from the large scale public efforts and influencing legislation. Although this definition is of primitive nature, there are a lot of changes has been happened in this present day world, even though the essence of mass betterment through propaganda and social legislation is still been there, still is the fundamental and core of the social action. Next definition by Friedlander. According to this definition, social action is an individual, group or community effort with the framework of social work philosophy and practice that aims to achieve social progress. So here, taking the social work, philosophy altogether intact with like the human rights, social justice and all, to mobilize, to modify social policies and to improve social legislation and health and welfare services. So working on the mobilization of the masses and to modifying into the policies is the and through the improving the overall social legislation is a major emphasis and concern of this definition. So if you look into further into this definition, that view by actually framing social action within social work, emphasizing that's not only a method of legislative change, but this is also a way to improve overall community welfare through organized efforts. So it's not only about the legal aspects, but it's also about the welfare aspect of the community. This is that's why this particular definition emphasizing on modifying social policies and to talking about the social progress, right? Next definition by Brito. Here the in the social action, the conflicting element has been included, where this statement says that social action is a conflictual process of varying interest. Means if you talk about the social action, so there are always a concern on the conflicting nature of the community, or maybe the conflicting aspect of the social system or the social structure. That's social action is actually conflictual process of varying intensity, initiated and conducted by the masses or by the group of elites, with or without the participation of masses in the action against the structure or institutions or policies or program or procedure of the government or of relevant agencies who are working there and or power groups to eradicate, control any mass socio-economic political problem with a view to bringing betterment to any section of the underprivileged at a level of larger than that of the sociological defined community. So here this whole definition is so comprehensive, talking about to whom you have to work with, by whom it has to be worked, for what level it has to be worked, and where it has to be worked. This is very, very comprehensive definition given by the Brito, central to the conflicting element of this whole social action aspect, right? Brito also focus on as considered as a conflict as necessary and a variable aspect of social action. It highlights the challenging power structure is often necessary to address the significant socio-economic and political problems. So it's not only just talking about the conflicting nature of the social action, but it's also considered as an important element and important mode to bring changes into the community. According to the Kohli, social action is the attempt to change the social environment in ways. So here, social environment could be social structure and social system, which will make life more satisfactory. It aims to affect not individual but social institutions, laws, customs, and communities. So here in this definition is also talking about that bringing the change into the social structure on the or the social system. So wherever and whichever feels to be the reason and then causes of the dysfunctional aspect of the community. So it could be through some institutional laws, some customs, some communities actions, some legal ways sometime. And if we're moving ahead to the next definition, as the Fetch has considered social action as legally permissible action by a group or by an individual trying to promote social group action. So this definition highlighting the legally permissible action means it should not be any so much of the conflicting in nature or taking the law of the land in their hands. So here is more about the non-conflicting aspect, but the propaganda and mass mobilization has definitely been the part of social action for the purpose of furthering objectives that are both legally and socially desirable. So anything which you go with any kind of the through some legal modes, so you can bring the changes in the legality and also bring the change in the socially desirable objective. According to the Hill, who describes social action as organized group effort to solve mass social problems or to further the socially desirable objective by attempting to influences basic social and economic condition or practices. Here, major emphasis of this definition is about the organized group efforts. So it's about the organized group effort. This definition is more close to the community organization approach or community organization method. So all this definition actually illustrates from the changing specific social structure to legally regulated or pursue of socially approved goals, and finally to organize efforts that addresses the widespread social problems. Together they capture, this whole definition capture the purpose of social action as a collective, lawful and then strategic effort to transform society and achieve social betterment. Moving ahead, to Indian social work authors, coming to some definition by some Indian authors like Nanavati, views social action as a process of bringing about the desired changes by deliberate group of community efforts. Social action does not end with the enactment of the social legislation, but the execution of the policies was the real test of success or failure of social action. If you actually looking into this definition of Nanavati, where the process of bringing about the desired changes by desirable deliberate groups and then community efforts, here the emphasis is on the definitely is about the bringing together or the collectiveness of the community members or the collective action aimed to purposeful transformation of something that is desirable. This definition also highlights that social action goes beyond simply enacting social legislation. Its success is measured or by the effective execution of all those legal activities or execution of the policies in a right manner. So just only creating some policies, developing some policies for some betterment or some enactment of some legal aspects is not actually fulfill the lot of the objective of social action. So if I see that there are a lot of the acts has been there, a lot of the provisions are there or safety provisions are there to save the guards, the scheduled caste or the Dalit people. But even though at the implementation level, there are a lot of red tapeisms, there are a lot of the mishandling is there. So as a Nanavati has actually emphasizing on that correct implementation and then enactment of those policies and the correct execution of those policies and programs are actually been center of the social action. And so if it is not, so there failure would be there. So for a successful social action, along with the right policies and the legal enactment, there must be a proper enactment, proper execution of those policies and then programs are required. So from the Indian perspective, this definition actually holds very practical and very um, aspect. I mean, this is actually gives the clear picture, gives the real picture of the society, that what is the reality and what is the one egalitarian aspect and what is the reality. So this definition actually suggests that it's very important to implement, to execute the policy in a very right manner, in a right direction. Next, the Indian Institute of Gandhian Studies defines social action is the term of the commonly applied to the social welfare activities, which is actually directed towards the shaping and modifying the social institutions and policies that constituted the social environment in which we live. So it's about how do we have to change into overall the environment. That is, environment could be the social system or the structure of the community. So in if you look into these definition, either it's Nanavati or the Institute of Gandhian Studies views social action as an intentional ongoing activity or effort by a group or the communities to drive meaningful changes. So it's a continuous process. It's not like that one revolution, one movement has been started and once it has been fulfilled, so it's over. No, as a social action is a continuous process. Once the community got realized their power, they continuously striving towards to get better environment, to creating a better environment with bit more just social system and social structure they actually wish to. So while Nanavati stresses the importance of implementing policies as the real measure of the success, the Institute of Gandhian Studies actually emphasizes the reshaping of the social institutions and then and policies to improve the broader social environment or broader social system. So one thing Nanavati talks about the implementation, proper implementation, and Institute of Gandhian ideology, Gandhian studies is emphasizing on the construction and reconstruction of the social institutions so that it could be easy and promote the social justice into the society. One more definition as by the Surinder Singh, an Indian author, defines social action as a process in which conscious, systematic, and organized efforts are made by some elites or people themselves to bring about change in the system, which is instrumental in solving problem and improving conditions, which limits the social functioning of the weaker and vulnerable section. On the practical plane, it is easier to social reform than to social revolution. So here, as per the Surinder Singh, the definition has actually highlighted the importance of or relate the social actions more closer to the social reform rather than social revolution. So which aims to smash the existing social structure and build a new social order. So this definition actually suggests that social action is a deliberate and organized effort by either elites or the people themselves to bring about meaningful changes in the social system in order to improve the condition of vulnerable and marginalized group. Taking the example of Raja Ram Mohan Roy as considered to be one elite who actually recognized the issues and then a problem of sati pratha. He then organized the community, he organized the masses along that issues and actually developing or formulating some kind of the legality into that, bringing some kind of the legality to actually ban this whole sati pratha. So if you're looking into this definition, so example of Raja Ram Mohan Roy is most suited. Social action also aims at solving real problems. If you look into this definition, it is more about social reform, making changes within the existing system rather than aiming on complete social revolutions. So that is overthrowing the system altogether. So revolution is talking about the overthrowing the system altogether, and reforming is to bringing change into that existing system. So we are more concerned about as a social system as a method into reforming the social system, right? So now coming to the objective of social action, I hope you understand the basic premise of the social action by understanding all those definitions. So there are many has given the objectives of social action. So we just have to take in the Saul Alinsky important objectives what he talked about. So the very first objectives according to Alinsky is about the empowerment of the disadvantaged. Definitely this is the prime most important objective and goal of the community social action. So this Alinsky approach focused on giving power to those who are marginalized for sure, allowing them to take charges of their own lives and influences to decision affecting their community. So here empowerment of the disadvantaged means to make them realize focus of giving on the power to the disadvantaged, making them realize, and by after realization of their own issues, they come forward, they do participate into that. And this participation actually, and through some kind of the support system, they develop the kind of the capacity, and that is what the way of empowerment. So the very first objective and most important objective of the social action is to giving empowerment to the disadvantaged section of the community. Then building collective identity and solidarity. Community identity and solidarity is the second most important objective of the social action, because this is also considered to be an important process to achieve the social action. So social action aims to unite individuals with shared concerns or experiences to create a strong collective identity. This unity or collective identity actually enhance their ability to organize, resist oppression, and make impactful changes. So this building collective identity and solidarity is, along with an important goal and objective of the social action, it's also concerned about the means and then process of bringing the community together. That is the solidarity, bringing solidarity. Then you could think about the mass mobilization and then propaganda or any kind of the tactics. It could be possible. So for the empowerment or disadvantage, this is important to have or to develop the community identity or the solidarity among the members who participated into the social action event. Next objective is about the challenging existing power structure. Definitely, this is the goal. This is the center of the social action aspect, because LNSK believe that social action actually should challenge the status quo of by directing addressing power imbalance, often thought confrontational tactics to demand justice and equity. And it is also an assumption that majority of the problems around the social unjust around the human rights as a domain is because of the structural imbalance. It's because of the power structure of the community, so that need to actually challenge that already existing power structure or the status quo. So to rebuild, restructure those system where that disadvantage also get chance to speak up, to speak about, to actually to participate. Social action is also, in one word if you want to say that, it's about the voice of unvoiced. Means social action actually give the voices to those whose voices has not been heard, or in short you could say the disadvantage, the empowerment of the disadvantage. Next objective is about the promoting social justice and equality. So here, once you've been able to bringing change in the power structure, you will be able to promote social justice and equality, and vice versa as well. If you actually promote the social justice and equality and develop that kind of the empowerment among the community member, they are definitely going to challenge the power structure or the status quo of the community. So one of the core objective of social action is to achieve greater social justice. This involves addressing and dismantling the inequalities related to the race, class, creed, gender, and any other social device which has been there in the community. Next objective is about raising awareness and shifting public opinion. So social action actually often seeks to inform and educate the public about social injustice, creating greater awareness and fostering public support for change. This is all shifting public opinion is again is a important objective and concern at the time of the process. Next is developing leadership within the communities is both important as a means as an end. LNSK emphasized that importance of nurturing local leadership to ensure that social changes movement are suitable and community driven. This help ensure that efforts for change continue beyond the initial action phase. So once you develop, you'll be able to develop the leadership within the community or nurturing some kind of the leadership within the community. So even at the time after the closure of that objective or after attaining that particular objective, that leadership that have already been developed is also going to help the whole community in the coming future in the any kind of the coming kind of the dysfunctional aspect of the system or any kind of the issues once arise into the community. Now coming to the some of the goals given by the Mishra, usually taken so many a time as an important goals of the social action. So very first is about the prevention of needs. This actually prevention of needs aims to address the potential causes of deprivation, because they maybe in coming in future they may escalate, or creating conditions which actually people do not fall into poverty or lack of essential resources. So prevention of needs is the important goal. When you actually work on the structure and the system of the community, you could anticipate that this particular issue is going to be happen, so that need to prevent beforehand. So this is one very important objective of social action. Solution of mass problem. So social action is actually addressing the issues that affects to the masses. So this again, solution of the mass problem is another very important. We focus on resolving widespread social issues such as unemployment, housing shortages, or food insecurity, or improve the overall quality of the life for large population. So this prevention of solution of mass problem is again so important. Then improvement in mass condition. Once you address the mass problem, you are actually trying to address the mass condition. So improvement in overall welfare aspects, or overall mass condition, is the major objective of the social action, right? So here works towards enhancing the overall general living condition, ensuring that basic amenities or the standards of health, safety, well-being are accessible to everyone. So that is what that is about mass condition. Then influencing institutions, policies, and practices. So seeks to, I mean, this particular objective actually seeks to shape or reform um, the services that needs the community, particularly marginalized groups. So here influencing institution, policies, and practices is another very important objective of the social action, where it actually tries to bring changes into the overall the policies and practice, because sometimes it is as we have seen that Nanavati definition, the policies are there, but there are some problem in implementation. So it's also important to work on those policies and make it more approachable and accessible to the masses. Redistribution of power and resources. This is again very prime objective, as Alinsky has also talked about, that the redistribution of power and resources means restructuring of the sometime of the structure system or community system is required, or sometimes it's just about the redistribution of power and resources if the power or the resources in the hand of few. This is generally happen, and this is the basic assumption of community work, that usually the holdings of the resources in the hand of few elite or few powerful, so that need to be redistributed, and both the power and then resources, then we could actually achieve the basic and the foremost goal of the social action, that is to bring the social justice and human rights in their place. Next is about the decision making. Actually decision making is an aspect of the empowerment of the community. So empowerment communities or disadvantaged groups to participate actively in the decision making process that acts that affects their lives overall. Once they participated, that is positively affect their lives, and they develop the kind of the motivation. Effect on thought and action structure. This social action also seeks to change societal attitudes and behaviors, encouraging a shift towards a more inclusive, equitable, way of thinking and acting. So sometimes the problem is in somewhere in the habits of both of the elites as well as of the disadvantage taken lot of the thing as the fate of their, and then elites has considered as their right of holding the power. So is there, are there rights? So this kind of the behavior from both the sides need to change, or need to um, uh, bring a lot of the changes into the behavioral aspect. So in the coming days we are also going to discuss about the SBCC, that is a social behavior change communication or behavioral change. So behavioral change is so important. Then once understand the problem, conscientization would happen, conscious understanding of the issues would be possible. So taking not everything as an habit or as an fate, is, I mean, taking every aspect of the problems and issue as a fate or as a habit is not acceptable in the social action. And then the improvement in health, education, and welfare. This is what the overall environment or the well-being of any community. That's about holding the health aspect into their education aspect and then welfare aspect of any community. So by holding all these in their place, we could say that we are actually getting the objectives and goals of the social action into their place. So improvement in health, education, and welfare, overall welfare, it could be possible only when the above said objectives and then the goals could be achieved. So that is what the people's participation, identification of the need, new social system, new structure, uh, participatory decision making, thoughtful action, behavioral change. So this, after this all, the improvement in health and education and welfare could be possible, because once they got realized that education is their right, so they will ask for their own rights. Once then the women would identify that their health is their right, that is what that is their right, and so they could ask for their better accessibility, better quality of health aspects. So this is what the overall the goals of the social action.